Friends, it is January, which means the seed starting questions are coming in hot. Okay, I was going to do a video titled Good, Better, Best, but I will tell you right now, I'm not into that energy. Not into it, don't think it's good, and I don't think it's what our gardening community needs. So instead of good, better, best, I am categorizing this into 3 categories. Category number 1, curious. I'm into this. This could be fun. Category number 2, this is my jam. I'm ready to make this part of my yearly process. And category number 3, this hobby has gotten out of hand, which is the camp that I currently reside in. Please send help. So as we discuss these categories of what kind of a grower are you, I thought I will rank kind of the top things you need in your seed starting journey. So we are going to discuss trays and inserts, and we are going to discuss grow lights. All right. Should I do a bonus category at the end for accessories? Everyone loves an accessory. Okay, let's do it. Friends, for my curious people out there, and this also actually goes for curious kids, I recommend starting, and I know I'm going to get some comments. Let's all be gentle and lovely in the comments down below. I love a Jiffy Pot. Here is the deal. There is something so satisfying, especially when I'm working with children, about seeing that little peat pellet expand. And yes, peat is controversial. However, if you are just starting out on this journey and you don't even know if this is for you, this is where I would begin, because you get that like immediate like dopamine hit from watching that little Jiffy pellet expand. And then also it's really easy. It already has an indent in the middle. You throw in your seed, you put your little cover on top, and you go. One thing I would recommend though is when you're doing this, don't get like some giant 72 count or extensive set of them. What I love is I love the little guys. They're about like this big. And what's great is you can go category by category. So you could do all of your peppers in one, you could do all of your tomatoes in one, and so on and so forth. And what's great is that when you're doing a singular vegetable or a single flower in them, you just pop off the lid when all of them have germinated, because you are going to have different germination times if you are starting different varieties. If you've passed the curious stage and you know that this is indeed your jam, you are going, and here's the deal, you can totally skip curious and go right for this. If you kind of know in your bones this is going to be your thing. This is where we are going trays. So this is just like cheapy tray situation. You are going to get a plastic lid, and then you are going to get some sort of insert. I'm showing you 2 different things. These ones right here, this little kit is from my local garden center. Actually, I don't think this is even my local garden center. I think I got this at Sky. But this is just a standard. And inside, you are going to choose what you want to throw in. In my tray, I'm usually going to put something like a little 6-cell insert. These ones are fantastic. You can get the less expensive black ones, but I find if you do that, you get into single-use territory. These ones from Bootstrap Farmer are exceptional. Hashtag not sponsored, although Bootstrap, call me. These ones I love. Other companies that make these are Epic Gardening. They also make these. What I think is the most spectacular thing about this is if you leave these out in the sun, they will not become deformed, which here is my 2 cents on this. If you're using a black plastic that in the garden becomes deformed when exposed to light, I raise my eyebrow. Okay, so there we are. This is for my friends who like it. It's their jam. Oh, also, you could go straight into a 4-inch tray or a 4-inch pot. So you could literally fill this with 18 4-inch pots, and then you don't have to pot up. But if space is a concern, this is also something really, really great, because I know I can always pot these on into 4-inchers when they get bigger. And it's great. They have a hole at the bottom, which I find like actually to be the best feature, because in the black ones that you usually get, you're in there with a butter knife trying to like scoop each one of them out, versus this, you literally just like push up with your finger and that little sucker pops out. So Highly, highly recommend if you're shopping for something more durable, get something that has some nice ventilation, hole in the bottom. Okay, are we ready for category? This has gotten out of hand. Please send help. If you find yourself with a stack of 6-cell trays like this, this may have gotten out of hand and you're ready for our next category. Welcome to soil blocking. This is expert level. You have, you know, it's so funny. I keep thinking of my kids and I'm like, you got the Riz. You've got that garden Riz. Okay, soil blocks are where it's at. These things are so stinking awesome. However, you do have to have patience and a desire to really cut down on your plastic waste. It is an awesome seed starting mechanism. I'm going to give you like the short primer version. There's lots of people out there who do incredible things with soil blocks. Essentially, you need a blocker. I have 2 different sizes here. I've got the tiny and I've got the big kahuna. And then you need a tray of some sort. Could you use a bucket or a wheelbarrow? Absolutely. But if I'm inside, I'm not bringing my wheelbarrow inside. So I'm going to use this tray. I got this one from Gardener's Supply. Chances are if you have a great garden center, they have something like this too. Okay. Overview of this is you create a soil mixture, and actually, gosh, who does the one that Lisa Mason Ziegler? I think that is her name. Sorry, I'm having like a brain fog moment. Lisa Mason Ziegler, she does a ton of like cool flowers. She is the queen of soil blocking. She has a really great recipe that I use when I do soil blocking. And essentially, you mix it all in here, and then you take your soil block. And what you're gonna do is you basically squish this thing. I pack it full, and then I squish it until every single one of these cells is flat. And you actually want to squish it and rub it against the basin of whatever container you're using. The reason is you want to create really tight pockets in here. You are going to experience a learning curve. That is totally normal. And sometimes you'll think you've got it all done, and then you'll pop this sucker out and it'll be, you just won't want to use it. Once you've got this full, you then take it to your tray, and this is where you'll probably, honestly, you could reuse these cute little trays or something smaller, but you take all the soil and you put it down flat, and then you squish it out and raise it up at the exact same time. What this does is, I'm going to bring this in close. Do you see that little nugget in there, that little dimple? That will actually create a cavity for your seed right on top of every single block. I also want to show you my hand for a scale of reference. These suckers are tiny. They are tiny. By comparison, here we are. This is my big kahuna. I actually really like working with this big soil blocker. And kind of, if you are new to the game, I think the big one is easier to use. A couple other kind of high level notes here. If you are doing a ton of soil blocking, this can actually kind of become, it can hurt your hand a little bit. So you could put like a little piece of foam tape on it, something like that. The other thing, if you are using these tiny soil blocks, they are incredible because you can start so many seeds. However, here is my little caveat. When you place these in, don't put them right next to each other. Space them out. And then when you water, you never water on top of your soil block because it'll just destroy it. You flood the basin of whatever you're using to hold your soil blocks. And because of that, you have to be mindful of channels that are too deep, because you can basically water the outside but not get to the inside. So there we are. First step in starting your seeds. And what I want you to take from this conversation is find where you're at. There is no right, there is no wrong. There is always just jump in there. See if this is even for you, because I know a lot of gardeners who cannot be bothered with seed starting. They love to go to the nursery and get that immediate gratification of purchasing veggies or flowers that have already been started for them. Okay, let's jump into lighting. When I first jumped into starting my seeds indoor, I actually made a pretty fatal flaw. I thought, oh, I've got a sunny southern exposure. Surely this is enough sun. Spoiler, it is not. It is absolutely not. I even tried putting a piece of cardboard that I wrapped in tin foil behind it to see if I could amp up the rays that it was getting. It still wasn't enough. Everything was super leggy. It's fine. You live, you learn. However, that second year, I knew it was something I loved and enjoyed, and I loved checking on my seeds every day, but I did not have a lot of money. And so I actually asked for this little baby you see in front of me. I asked for this for my birthday. I think it was like my 29th birthday. I asked for this guy. And this has taken me a darn long way. This is the Jumpstart Lite. And as you can see, it's like super basic, right? So we've got a frame. It's actually been used so much, it's like broken on this side. So I just delicately place it. And you have a plug, you have an on and off switch right here. And then you have this bar. And up here is a little mechanism that you can pull out. And basically, you're going to lower this to about, I would say, 2 inches above the height of your seeds. And then you're going to raise the knot up as your seeds grow. This was, at the time, I think it was $50, something like that. Oh, and inside, you can see there's only one light. And then it has this little kind of cone around it. So this is what I used for many, many years. And actually, as I got into teaching children edible gardening, I continued to use this. This is where I knew it was time to upgrade. When you set your trays up, it can really only fit about 2 of those long trays. They're actually called 10-20 trays. It can only fit 2 of them. If you turn them sideways, you don't have a large enough cone, a large enough beam of light to sufficiently light trays that are running lengthwise this way. So if you're just getting started, something like this is super wonderful. But just know that if you really get into this, you will reach the limit of what you can do. The other consideration is, do you remember when I was telling you about different seeds germinate and grow at different rates? You're going to start peppers earlier than tomatoes, the whole 9. Well, what ended up happening is I would keep a series of like shoe boxes or canned goods, and I would elevate things and lower them as my seeds and my plants grew. So I didn't have a lot of flexibility with this, but I was a mom on a budget and I made it happen, just like so many people out there do. So this is for my curious friends. And when you are ready, we will go on to This Is My Jam. Okay, friends, this is, well, welcome to the area across from my washer and dryer. And this is actually the second set of grow lights that I ever purchased. So the first one, as you saw, when you're curious, you go with that kind of like low investment, try it out, see how it is. This one was a much heftier investment, but these are some of the nicest grow lights I have ever purchased. I absolutely love these things. And I think what's kind of cool also is they are wrapped in this like bamboo, like real bamboo wood. And so I actually had these in my living room for seed starting, because I'm also the type of person where I needed someplace that I could visually see them every single day. And so for me, I had these in my living room. What's great is there's like a little tray topper that's in like a galvanized material. And so I had some house plants on top. I had these guys down below. And this has been a very, very welcome addition to my seed starting regimen. As you can see down here, we've got some of those upgrades. These ones are just classic reused 4-inch containers, but they're all held in that durable Bootstrap tray. I've got some of these 6-inchers, or excuse me, 6 cells going on. But what I love about this set is, if aesthetics are really important to you, if you know that you have a little bit of money to spend, this is a very beautiful investment. Now, if I were to mark this down for anything, it is that a 10-20 tray does not fit perfectly within the confines of this grow light setup. So what you can see here is I have 3 1, 2, 3 of these 10, 20 trays. So they have this galvanized tray here, which is amazing because it catches basically any sort of like little dribbles that might come out. However, if I go to put my 10, 20 tray in, it sticks off the edge. So I actually have to come in here and lift up that back end. So it's actually not even sitting on the tray. So there is another set of trays that Gardener Supply has. And so if this is something that you are looking to invest in, I might invest in a tray, a seed starting system that's going to fit inside this bad ride. The other really cool thing about this is these are stackable. So I actually have two, one on top of the other. The other awesome thing about these lights is this is the very first light I encountered where I didn't actually need to raise and lower the lights. And so this is a static light system. And as you can see, I can touch this. It's not hot. It's not burning. So lots and lots of positives to this set of grow lights. And it was enough where I bought this set. I bought one of these boxes and then I waited a little bit and I bought a second one, which is sitting down below. So I've got two of these little cuties. And so when I'm not going bananas and I'm just doing like a little bit, this is a very lovely system. Before I show you the next crazy setup that I've got going on, know that the reason I have two is because I like to start things for my personal garden in this smaller set, while the other set, a big kahuna set, is busy getting prepped for the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. Friends, welcome to This Hobby Has Gotten Out of Hand. Okay, we are in my little seed starting cave turned Northwest Flower and Garden Show prep cave. If you are the everyday gardener, your seed starting room will not reflect this level of insanity. However, I am getting prepped for the show, which means I actually have some mature plants down here that I am trying to, they normally wouldn't be blooming until May, and I'm trying to get them to bloom in February. Pray for me. Okay, here we are. This is next level insanity. This means you have outgrown the jumpstart. You have outgrown your kind of like isolated little shelf of grow accoutrement. You are now in, I need a jumbo rack from Costco or wherever else, and we are going whole hog. First and foremost, you are going to retrofit this with any number of shop lights. You just want a shop light that is going to handle a bulb for growing plants. I'll have links to basically everything, but this is a shelf that I got at Costco. The only reason I have these kind of extended over the edge is because my basement has a slope to it, and so I need to raise this ever so slightly so when I bottom water, it is absorbed evenly. Essentially, what I've done here is I have a 2-foot grow light and a 3-foot grow light, and you daisy chain them together. This is so super duper easy. This type of grow light, you actually don't need to raise and lower, which is a major bonus that we learned about with my bamboo fancy pants lights, which are just like decorative and yummy. Okay, a couple of considerations here. I love my Bootstrap farmer trays. These were such a good recommendation from you guys. I like can't even stand it. I just ordered 10 more. When you are whole hog, this hobby has got out of hand, invest in a proper tray because you can scrub these. You can just like, they run the distance for you. And what's great is you can bottom water everything and it'll prevent water from dripping down onto your seedlings and your plants below. At this stage in the crazy game, you may want to, or actually probably at the earlier stage, but when you're this crazy, you're gonna have accessories. And so let's break down the accessories that I would recommend bringing in if you are at the this is my jam stage and above. Okay, accessory number one is actually going to be a heat mat. Heat mats are fantastic. I have 3 of them. I prefer a heat mat that will fit a 10 by 20. I have one that's a larger square, but I actually find that I like the use of the singular because it gives me a bit more flexibility. You're going to use a heat mat on anything that requires a little bit more heat to germinate. So Tomatoes are really gonna love this. Anything that would really appreciate like an 80-degree germination, that's where your heat mat is gonna be just like amazing. Okay, so the next accessory, when you are at this level of shenanigans, you really need to invest in a timer. Actually, I feel like at all levels, you should invest in a timer because for me, I'm busy. I have a business, I have a family, I'm a partner, I'm just a human being having a human experience. And so for me, if I can automate something, it is just that is how I like to do it. So there's a couple things to take into consideration when you are looking for a timer. If you have a single set of lights, just get a single plug-in timer. They are basic. You plug them in, you plug in to the side, and then you plug them into the wall. I will link ones I have used and loved. You do have to be careful when you're buying them though, because you need a 3-prong with all of these light fixtures, not a 2-prong, which you will see a lot. If you have upgraded to my level of craziness here and you've got heat mats going and you've got lights and you've got fans, you are going to invest in a power strip that is run by a timer. And when you get these power strips, what's fantastic is one column is always on and one column is switched. So all of my lights plug in along the switched side of the power strip, and all of my things like heat mats, fans, all those accessories, they plug in on the other side because I don't want a heat mat going off. I want it to be on all the time. I want my fans to be on all the time. So that's kind of what I would recommend when you get to this level of insanity. Next piece of accoutrement, you are going to invest in a fan. A fan is not like do or die, but at this level of wackadoodle, a fan is nice. In fact, you can probably see it. It's blowing right against me, and we have it set on oscillating. I am actually going to be investing in 2 more fans. So you can see I've got a rack here. That one has like a super tall, is it like a 3-foot tall oscillating fan? So I have a 3.5-foot tall oscillating fan. It goes side to side, really getting lots of great air movement down here. The one thing that it doesn't hit is it doesn't hit these 2 top shelves. It actually gets my lower one based on where we have it positioned. But I'm gonna buy 2 little clip-on ones. You can buy some that will clip around, like around. So if you have the, that kind of, they call metro racks that are stainless steel that come with those round posts, you could clip it onto that. Or if you just get like a normal desk fan, you can clip it onto these little crossbars that are down here. Easy peasy. The thing that you want to look for though is a little bit of oscillation, because we're not just wanting to like blast it, but when you're doing this many plants and seeds, as soon as they get out into the outside environment, if they have to stand up to a little bit of wind and movement, it makes for a much stronger plant. It also can help prevent fungus gnats from setting up shop extensively. You're probably going to get them at some point. It's the nature of the beast. So buy a bunch of those little yellow sticky tags. Let me see. Oh, like this. Okay, already covered in little fungusy gnats. You are going to run into way more of a problem with that if you are using potting soil that's been left outside, or if you are doing what I'm doing, which is bringing really mature things that have been growing on outside. Suddenly I'm bringing them inside and I'm bringing all their friends with me. Also, if you've gone whole hog here, I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to give you a tip, and then I'm going to show you one more crazy thing that I do. Actually, Brian did it. It's not me. If you are this whole hog doing seed starting, I actually would recommend just a basket of tools that you're going to keep down here. You're going to keep your fertilizer, your liquid fertilizer down here. You're going to keep your watering can. You may keep a mister. I have this little cutie right here. It's just like a basic glass, adorable mister. I love this one. When I really get seeds going, or when I'm inside at the convention center and I really need to encourage a lot of humidity, you can actually get a pump mister where you're going to pump that sucker up and then it's just a single trigger press. That's really nice. That is very nice. If you're just doing like 1 or 2 trays of seedlings, this is sufficient. And you don't need to go fancy glass. I just like it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just want something pretty. Okay. And so definitely invest in a little go bag. Your little snips, all of your things, just have them here, corral them. And so you just come down and you're ready to set to work. Okay. Last item on our crazy, this habit has gotten out of hand, is brought to you by my partner, Brian. This is an echo dot. So I was feeling a little sad because we had brought in 6 mature dahlias, and the goal was to cut them back, but still leave some greenery, bring them inside and grow them on for the show in February. And I was devastated because immediately half of them up and died. They were like, girl, you've lost your mind. I don't know what you think you're doing. And I was just kind of like, man, I really wanted to do this. And I wanted to like, just do something awesome and fun. Anywho, I went about, I was running some errands, and I came home and I walked in the door and Brian was in the living room folding laundry, and I heard classical music. Brian is a lover of all music. However, you will rarely catch him listening to classical music. And I looked at him and he looked back at me and he was like, what? And I was like, are you listening to classical music? And he's like, well, not really. And I was like, why is it coming from the basement? Well, my man went and got his Amazon Echo and had done some research online and learned that plants really love music. So every morning, this Amazon Echo goes off and it plays beautiful classical music for my plants for 2 hours. Are we crazy or genius? Time will tell. Brian is currently making fun of me because I ran out of Bootstrap Farmer trays. They are on their way. I just ordered 10 more. But in the interim, I lined one of my my plant trays, and these I get from the nursery when I'm pulling plants. They've got holes in them, which is lovely, but I don't need holes because I'm watering, and so I line it with tinfoil. I'm being resourceful. I'm being resourceful. Before we go, I want to bring you in close because I want to give you an update on the violas. If you missed the viola video, that will also be down there. It has been 4 days, and I did have some that were like teeny tiny that aren't doing so great, but I would say 85–90% of them are not only doing fabulous, but they're all blooming. So let's take a look. Okay, can we talk about how stinking cute these are? They are so lovely, and I love looking at these happy little faces under the light because here is the thing, they're all slightly different. I mean, look how much raspberry is coming through that with that deep plummy purple center. I am so tickled with how these are coming along. Also, I'm playing with some geum. I'm playing with a little salvia that I cut back and brought in from a pot. My geraniums are just going bananas. These are cuttings from my friend Nancy. And over here in ranunculus territory, you guys, I don't mean to give this a tour, but I can't help it. Y'all, it's a bud. It's a stinking bud on my ranunculus. So good. Okay, if you don't know this plant, this is from Bascom. And there's my tinfoil tray. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's all I'm gonna say. So friends, there you have it. Everything from the I am super curious about this process to this shit is out of hand, which is my camp. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, say hello to your garden for me.